Whoa! She just took the deep edge off a snitch, bruh. She's actually working with the cops. I remember when I was in school as a kid, I didn't distrust teachers. Teachers were good people. Like, they watched over you when your parents weren't around, and they were appointed to educate you. Of course they were good people. But I realize nowadays, I mean, you only have to watch the news for a few minutes to figure out they're just people. And people commit crimes and they do stupid stuff. So sooner or later, you're going to hear about a teacher that did something terrible. Whether it was something inappropriate with one of their students or something that got them fired from their job because of code of conduct that even happened outside of work. Like, you can't commit violent crimes and be a teacher, you know? Like, sooner or later, it's going to catch up. The record's going to catch up with you. If you get caught, you normally get terminated from your position. Heck, a few years back, when my daughter was in high school, she had a teacher that all of a sudden got arrested. I'm not going to disclose the details, but I was like, well, what do you know? You know, you never know about stuff like that. So thankfully, it had nothing to do with my daughter, but still in all, teachers, yeah, people just like you and me, and we don't commit crimes, but you know what I'm saying. They're people, and they're capable of anything that other people are for. So you always hear about these stories, though, because I mean, they're traumatic, right? They're like, man, that guy or that lady took care of my kids at one point. Like, it can shock you, you know? Storytime Animated just did an animation about a teacher getting arrested, and we're going to react to it today. Make sure to head on over to their channel, click the subscribe button, click the notification bell, and if you like reaction videos like this, click subscribe on this video as well. Let's get into the story.
Hi, my name is Dolly.
Hi, Dolly.
And I'm kind of having a hard time at school nowadays. Why? Because I called the police on my teacher. The cool guy every student likes. So my classmates are a bit mad at me. Well, not a bit mad. A lot mad. And I don't think they'll go back to liking me anytime soon if I have to be perfectly honest. Let me tell you all about how this happened and why I decided that the cops needed to get involved. I'm not a snitch or anything like that, but someone had to say something, you know? Anyhow, let's start from the very beginning. My school has always been kind of dull, if I have to be perfectly honest. It was boring, and nothing exciting ever happened. No big rallies, no big parties being busted, no messy kids that got everyone in trouble.
What kind of school is this? No parties being broken up? I'm taking that she's in high school because it looks like it's in the, I don't know, the atmosphere looks like it's a little bit older than elementary school, but there's no high school parties being broken up. That's just because they were good at hiding it.
Sure, there were a few bad apples, and they went to the principal's office often, but that was it. Other than that, most of the kids there were super normal, and the teachers were all old and boring. Nothing that would ever catch anyone's attention. Now, I'll be perfectly honest with you. I liked it that way. I like my small town and my friends. I like the way everything seemed so sleepy and calm. It was pleasant and wholesome, just like my parents taught me life should be. You see, my dad is a minister and my mom is a vet. And they both are super kind and charitable people. They always try to find the best part of everyone they meet and believe with all their hearts that all people deserve a second chance.
Man, that feels good to think about that. And it's true. Like, the media has given us so much information about the bad things in the world that sometimes we just think humanity is a lost cause, you know? I love my community around here. I complain that I live in the ghetto and stuff like that, but for the most part, the local community, everybody but a couple of my neighbors, and even those people, some of them are really, really good people. I've got the chance to meet, most of them are really good people. And I've gotten a chance to meet some of them. And it's nice to think about humanity like that once in a while, even though we're reacting to stories about people that aren't like that at all, right?
Yeah, that's super lovely. But it doesn't always work out that way. Because sometimes people mess up their whole lives and ruin other people in the process. And that's just not fair. So I have a straight moral compass and expect people not to cheat and do things that are against the law, you know? I prefer talking to those who are messing up most of the time. But my teacher stepped way over the line. And I couldn't let him get away with it. Everyone thought he was so perfect and cool. So none of the other teachers or even the principal were even going to realize what was going on unless someone spoke up. And that someone ended up being me. Yeah. I know it sounds like I'm a big snitch, but it's the first time I've called the cops on someone, I swear.
Depends what he was doing.
Let me tell you a bit about this teacher.
Okay.
His name was Mr. Dickinson, and boy, he was cute. He was super young, like a few years older than the rest of us. I was a senior in high school, and he had just graduated from college. So he went straight from getting his certification to teaching his first class at our school.
Got
Mr.
you.
Dickinson was also wicked smart, and he was our math teacher. For the first time in what seemed like forever, my classmates actually seemed to think that math was cool. It was a nice change of pace, sure, but appearances can often fool you.
Mm-hmm.
Not everything that glitters is gold, right?
That's
Well,
right.
believe me when I say Mr. Dickinson wasn't gold. Since he was so young and handsome, everyone thought he was the coolest guy ever. I'm not going to lie, I sort of liked him at first too. He seemed so clever and funny, and I loved that he was pushing the kids to study hard.
Right.
He always bonded really well with all the teenagers in my class, even with me. He didn't only teach us, he even hung out with us during lunch break. He hugged me a few times, and I really liked it.
Oh.
I might have had a little silly crush on him, but most of the girls did as well.
I don't know about this hugging bull stuff, guys. No. Not with a teacher, bruh. Don't do it.
How could we not? He was sort of dreamy, you know? Now, I'm sure you think that you already know what his crime was. Handsome, young, hugging female students.
Yeah.
He sure was a perv, right? Wrong. Don't jump to conclusions.
Well.
Believe me, there is far more than meets the eye to the story, so
Okay.
bear with me.
All right.
So we all liked him and basically treated him as one of our own. He didn't only teach us, he even hung out with us during lunch break. Mr. Dickinson would come over to our table and eat his meal with us.
I've had teachers like that in college before, and it's actually really, really cool to be able to level with professors or teachers like that in a way. I guess the way that the story is portrayed, it's a little bit questionable, but she said to give it time, so I'm willing to hear him out.
Laughing and joking around. When a teacher questioned him about it, he'd just say, "I'm making sure they're not getting into any trouble. It's best to be close to them and get their trust." His explanation usually had other adults not in agreement and let go of their questions. He had a really honest smile, so no one ever seemed too eager to doubt his true motivations.
Oh,
Our
wow.
teacher would also banter with us and joke around with us. It was so much fun. I even caught him pulling a few pranks, and believe me, it was hilarious. He was the
Oh,
coolest
gosh.
adult we had ever met. But it seemed like under the surface, he was hiding ulterior motives. He was also amazingly good at motivating kids, but maybe a little rough about it. I still remember what he used to tell us every single day. "If you don't pay attention in class, you'll end up flipping burgers like a total loser," he'd tell a
Wow.
student who fell asleep during his lesson. Or if someone failed a
Huh.
test, he'd call them out in front of everyone and say, "With grades like this, you'll be such a failure. Imagine your
Dang.
future. Do you want to go to college or just become a stupid drug dealer?" I didn't know if
Wow.
speaking that way to us was good or bad, but it seemed to do the trick. Students started improving their grades massively when it came to math.
I guess so. I don't think that's the right type of motivation. You can't argue with his methods, but it's terribly inappropriate to speak to kids like that.
Principal was delighted with Mr. Dickinson. Perhaps that's why no one raised a brow when this young teacher began hanging out more and more with his students. "It's just a way to reach them and get them to study harder," he explained to the staff, and everyone just believed him. Every single day, students would gather around his car so they could meet up after school and chat. They'd joke and mess around doing silly things. Sure, some teachers were kind of suspicious, but they couldn't deny that Mr. Dickinson's methods seemed to work really, really well. He was such a cool guy, and everyone seemed to love him. Even the parents approved of him. So yeah, the school's golden boy, right? Wrong again. Remember how I told you that my little town was kind of sleepy and boring and nothing really special ever happened?
Yeah.
Well, a few weeks after Mr. Dickinson arrived at our high school, these big parties began to take place. The kids there got kind of rowdy and the
Oh,
police
snap.
were even involved a few times. This was so strange, as it had never really happened before, so I knew something was up. But I liked this teacher so much that I didn't want to tie two and two together. I wanted him to be the cool, good guy I believed him to be. A few months after his arrival, though, I was forced to face the truth. I was leaving class one day when I heard a few friends speaking about this big party they had been planning for that very Friday. I wasn't planning on going, so I barely listened until I heard a word that shocked me. Illegal
Dickinson.
substances.
Oh.
Well, that wasn't the word they said, but you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah?
I turned around and joined the conversation. My friend Sally was describing how she had been saving up to buy some pills to take to the party. I was stunned. Sally had
Molly's.
never been that kind of girl, but she seems super excited about it now. "Yeah, I have all my money saved up, so that won't be a problem. Are you guys bringing anything?" "Yeah, I think I'll take some as well. After all, now it's super easy to buy it." Jake, another student in my class said happily. I was so confused. Why was it easier to buy the stuff like that now?
Mr. D! Mr. D's the drug seller. Didn't he just say that you'd end up being a stupid drug dealer if you didn't go to college? What is going on here?
Well, of course I had to go ahead and ask and ruin the opinion I had of my seemingly perfect teacher. Mr. Dickinson is the plug for most of us. Didn't you know? He offers good stuff at a really good price, too. He never tries to mess with the prices, which is so cool, Jake explained. And I gasped, shocked. Yeah, I mean, before it was so hard getting something to smoke or some pills, or they were super expensive. Now it's far easier.
So, this man that had, I know, listen y'all, I know that teachers don't get paid a lot. But you would jeopardize a career that you spent time in college in order to get. Clearly, it's got to be some sort of a passion for you. You're good at it, and you're gonna jeopardize it by selling drugs to kids? What? That would be so stupid. They're kids. The word's gonna get out.
Mr. Dickinson is so cool. Mr. Dickinson even gave me some for free when we were hanging out. That's so great. I love that we have a plug, teacher, and a friend all in one, chimed in one of my other friends. Plus, he's really dreamy, isn't he? Sally added. I was stunned. I didn't think that was cool at all. Selling that kind of stuff seemed horrible to me, and there were so many students that had never tried it before.
First of all, you are a snitch. You said earlier that you wasn't a snitch. You're a snitch. But I agree that, yeah, this shouldn't have been done. This shouldn't have been done. We're talking about high school students here too, and just because you think you could trust somebody to take something that you give them responsible, don't mean that they won't redistribute it, or it might be found by their siblings, their younger siblings in their house. What happens then? What happens when your kid brother or kid sister sneak into your book pack and take some of these illegal drugs? I'm not down with this at all.
But since the teacher they admired sold it, they suddenly decided it was super cool. People like my friend Sally. So not only was this guy selling illegal substances, but he was pressuring my friends by making them think all the popular students were doing it. I had never smoked before in my life. Some of my friends did, and I knew it. But this was getting out of control. It was one thing for a few kids to do it, and another for the whole class to be thinking it was so cool all of a sudden.
I was in high school smoking cigarettes, man. I'm ashamed to admit it. I was hooked early, yo. When I was 16, I was smoking cigarettes. And at the school that I went to, or the school that I switched to, I remember there being these little hot boxing circles, man. People just get in the little circles, lighting up one cigarette, and just everybody pass it around and just kill it. Oh, can't believe we used to do that, bro.
It was so messed up that a teacher we all trusted so much was selling his very students the stuff. I was furious. I couldn't decide what I should do about it. Honestly, it took me the longest time to decide what I should do about it. I tried to justify him a million times and pretend that maybe it wasn't so bad after all, but I knew that was a big lie I was telling myself.
Yeah.
I finally realized I had to do something about it when I found out that not only was Mr. Dickinson selling that stuff, but actually going to the parties and smoking it with the students.
Well, yeah, why
not? He was
not?
a bad guy, not a cool teacher, and I needed to bring his crimes to light.
Wow.
I thought about going to the principal, but Mr. Dickinson was so well liked that maybe he wouldn't believe me. So instead, I decided to go to the police station. I explained what was going on, and I told them about the party that was going to take place on Friday. My teacher will be there, selling all that stuff and partying with his students. If you go there, you'll bust him doing it, I explained.
Wow.
And they agreed to work with me to catch him red-handed. I went to the party and bought some stuff from my teacher with money the police chief had given me.
Whoa! She just went from snitch to... She just took the deep edge off a snitch, bruh. She's actually working with the cops. I wonder if she's wearing a wire or something. Oh, dang.
I was wearing a little camera on my dress,
and
he didn't even realize that he was being recorded.
Oh.
Well, seconds later, the police rushed inside and arrested him. I tried to pretend I didn't know anything about it, but somehow my classmates realized that I had been the one to rat him out. Why did you have to ruin everything for us? They screamed at me, and I didn't know what to reply. I mean, it was the right thing to do. Didn't they see it?
But you're a senior, girl. You ain't got a whole lot of time. Like, they not gonna understand because you ratted their friend out. But honestly, I think you did the right thing because, like I said, some bad stuff could have came from that.
You're such a snitch, Sally told me, and she hasn't spoken to me since.
Plus, if he was capable of doing that in the first place, what else is he capable of? Like, it's... Dang, man.
I hate the fact that I lost a good friend over this. So, yeah, everyone is super mad at me, and they blame me for losing their plug and the coolest teacher in school all at once. My parents are proud of me, though, and I know I did the right thing, so I guess I'll just have to deal with the consequences of having a conscience. Thanks for watching.
Wow, man. You know, I as an adult, I would probably do the same thing, you know. And I don't know if I would have did it in school. When I was in college, I did some experimentation myself, and I'll be the first one to say that I had a big different opinion about a lot of the way, you know, law worked and responsibility worked than I do now. But it's really, really interesting to think that people would jeopardize their entire life. You can't recover from something like this. Even if you don't serve time, or you serve a little bit of time when you get out of jail, who's gonna hire you as a teacher with that kind of thing on your record? Selling drugs to students? I don't think so. Man, I hope y'all enjoyed this one, guys. Let me know what you think in the comments. It's definitely a topic of conversation. Thanks for watching, y'all. Hope y'all enjoyed it. If you did, make sure to subscribe to the channel. Leave me a like, leave me a comment, and make sure to go over to Storytime Animated's channel and click subscribe as well. Thanks so much for watching. As always, this is Zueljin signing off, and we'll see you next time. Break it down.